What is going on, everybody? The first time in 2 weeks, we are doing a formal podcast. Me, Luca, Twinbill. Yes, we are back. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that post notification button so you know when there's a live chat, Pete rant, game season, live podcast, any of that stuff. Man, it's all exciting when it comes to NYY News TV, and we're the best in the biz when we talk about that stuff. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Aaron Hicks. We're going to talk about Jeter Knight. We're going to talk about Gerrit Cole. A lot of stuff, really. But overall, I'm in a happy mood, I would say. The Yankees pulled out a win against the Sox. Definitely going to talk about that. And, well, it's victory week for the New York Giants. So I'm happy about that. I don't know. We have some Giant fans in the comments like Medina, Hirsch, all these other guys. Also, it's not in the borough of Brooklyn anymore. But go buy your tickets for NYY News TV Day. I know it's a little bit more accessible in the Bronx and that we have it there now. Brooklyn is a little bit closer for me, but if we get more people out to the Bronx and have a better time, listen, food, beverages, alcohol, music, all that fun stuff, and you get to hang with us, and we get to be a little bit more free than we were at Yankee Stadium. It's going to be a fun, exciting night, and we are less than a month away, October 11th. Luca, your first thoughts?
Yeah, Yankees complete a series win over the Rays this past weekend. Obviously, it was the most positive thing out of my weekend when it came to sports. The Fighting Irish lost to Marshall. 0-2 to start the season for the first time since, I think, 2017 or 2011. And then you have the Jets completely getting their asses whooped at home, which I saw live. So that was a bad experience. And they just completed a win over Boston. Very tough fought victory, comeback win. So let's see if this is a thing for sign for things to come. Maybe this is the launch pad. We don't know. The Jays did beat the Rays tonight. So we're hoping like this is a sign of maybe this team gets going again.
Yeah, I would definitely hope so. And it would be a little more confidence in terms of our event because we wouldn't want to cancel any event. And then we're not sure about the Yankees, winning the division or not. Right now, as you mentioned, the Jays and the Rays are fighting for second place. Jays are right there with 6 games behind the Yankees. 6.5 games behind the Yankees are the Tampa Bay Rays. And then you got the Orioles at 4th and Boston Red Sox at 5th, even though we're facing them. So it's the Yankees' job over the next few weeks just to tighten that gap. I think the number is 15 to clinch the AL East. Let's clinch it as fast as possible so nobody could get in. So we get that bye. I don't know. Let's actually take a look at the record right now. So we're 86 wins, and the Houston Astros are 92 wins. So we're 6 games behind, which I'm not actually happy about.
Yeah, because we took off games in July and August.
Yes, we mailed in games, as Luca would like to say, but both the Astros and the Yankees, the top 2 teams, that would obviously be still for a technically, if we're talking in football terms, a bye, right?
Right now, we'd be probably facing, if we went to the playoffs, we'd be facing the winner of the Rays Indians wild card.
So that's at least a vote of confidence, but I'm not jumping. I don't want to jump into third place, any of that stuff, whatever. Okay. My thought process, my experience from Friday. I mean, we'll talk about the
let me just say this is actually raised. It's actually Indians. I'm sorry, not Indians. It's the Guardians and the Jays, since the Jays are ahead of the Rays now on record.
Okay. But with that being said, going back to Friday, we'll talk about the experience on hand a little bit. But obviously disappointing game on Friday. Kind of disregarded the next 2 games because A, I wasn't happy, and B, I like to be fair in telling the truth. I don't really prioritize the Yankees when it comes to football season. College football and the New York Giants are only on for so many games. So I tend to prioritize
17-game season compared to 162.
Right. So I know a lot of, people that are not critical of the Yankees would come after me for saying, well, you're not a fan because you're not watching. I don't like one sport homers. I don't like that. Like, if you're a fan of one sport and don't attack people because they're fans of other sports, that's fine. But if you're a one sport homer and you make 30 accounts on Twitter about the next Aaron Hicks bandwagon and you attack people, that's not right.
Yeah,
But
those are just no lifers.
yeah, but Luca, explain your thought process over the weekend in terms of sports and all that stuff coming off of that Jeter game.
Well, I gotta say, I was emotionally kind of moved. I wasn't crying, but I had a little water fill up in my eyes. Jeter is my favorite Yankee of all time, most certainly. And it was great to see him like in person, all his teammates, standing by him, all that other stuff, seeing the monument plaque, the Hall of Fame plaque, all that stuff. It was just a moving experience, as I said, but the Yankees just did not honor him by the way they played that night. But I'm happy that the Yankees took the next two, did what they needed to do, blew out the Rays, I think, in both games. But listen, you got to do what you got to do. You got to strengthen that lead against the Rays and the Jays.
Definitely right on that one. Definitely right on that one. So, if you want to start us off either with the experience stuff that happened on Friday, I'll let you go into it.
So obviously, he was mobbed. We got these little Jeter plaques. Got them right here. Obviously, it's a little mirrored, but got the Jeter plaques. What was it? First 40,000.
First 40,000, yes.
First 40,000 guests into the stadium. We all got them. Huge lines everywhere. What time did we get the stadium? Like 4:30.
We got this, yeah, somewhere around that, and then we got in at like 5:10 because the lines were so discombobulated.
We met Joe, did our thing. We walked around a little bit. We grabbed some food. Pulled pork sandwich is actually pretty good. Alex, what'd you get? You got the
I got lemonade, but I kind of shared with you and Joe in terms of like the chicken and stuff. I don't remember what I got to eat though. I feel like I got something to eat, but I don't remember what it was. But you got the pulled pork sandwich. They didn't necessarily put
I
barbecue sauce on it, right?
they could have added a little more, I felt.
Oh, it's just like they throw a whole pork slob in there and they're like, here, there's your sandwich. But
It's not like obviously not a traditional, but it was good for a stadium one, I should say.
I mean, we're also
But
contemplating stadium nachos, but you got ripped off.
they're ridiculous in how they so for all you fans who've never been to Yankee Stadium or have never got the nachos, there's the $9 nachos, the $20 nachos. Now the $9 nachos, obviously with cheese and whatever your toppings you want. $9 nachos is half actual like Tostito nachos and half Fritos, the corn chips.
Don't you mean $20?
No, that's the $9. That's what I
Oh,
got. It was half Fritos and half Tostito, like the round toast. I'm sorry, chips, the round chips, typical nachos. So, and then the $20, $11 higher is the actual nachos, the actual tortilla chips, which I think is ludicrous. But
oh,
again, I wasn't trying to spend $20 on nachos, which I think is kind of ridiculous. It's stadium nachos. Come on now.
yeah. I mean, I just got some stuff.
Just like it's near $5, $7 of water.
Well, I mean, that's Yankee Stadium for you. I mean, you're better off just buying it outside the stadium, not opening it, and then drinking it inside the stadium. So what's something you could get away with. They'll ban that in the future though, because you can't make money off of it. Um, but with that being said, uh, some of the Jeter stuff in terms of the Jeter Day, he came out golf cart with his kids and his wife, spoke a little bit. I want to talk about two main things. And obviously, it was great to see some of the former Yankees there. I was a little surprised that Bernie or maybe Hideki Matsui was not there.
I would say I'm a little more surprised than Bernie. Maybe he was like on tour or something.
Yeah. Um, Tino was there. Mariano was there. Jorge, Andy Pettit. Some other names that to throw out there. I'm probably forgetting in my mind right now, Joe Torre. So there was a couple of good names out there, obviously, and he got to throw out the first pitch. Two things I take away from it, and maybe people will say, well, you're trying to be negative and trying to oversight the whole experience. Hal Steinbrenner was booed, and Jeter was like, listen, don't really boo the Steinbrenners. But when it came to Cashman, he says, well, I guess Yankee fans are ready for playoff baseball. And I kind of like what he said, in the press
He was
conference.
trying to
Yankee
be
fans
comedic.
are, yeah, no, I know he was It's not like he was legit serious. But with that being said, I like what he said in the press conference in regards to what was it that he said? Oh, well, Yankee fans are never satisfied, and that's okay. I feel like that's a lot forgotten when it comes to Yankees Twitter, because people are just okay with mediocrity, it seems, at
Of
least in
course,
our
they've never
standard.
seen winning.
No, they've never seen winning, so it's kind of like Jeff fans in a case, in your case, definitely. Um, but what did you make of how Steinbrenner being booed? And to be honest with you, I listen, they have beef. It's fucking clear. Jeter and Cashman, they don't like each other. I don't think Jorge likes Cashman because he's Jeter's best friend. But
Of
you couldn't
course.
show up.
No, of course. When it came to Hal, of course I booed him. Of course, because I think he's a lying scumbag who's nothing but a money taker. He's greedy as hell. Well, I wouldn't say greedy. I think
Penny pincher.
penny pincher. There you go. Penny pincher, especially when you hear the reports of what he agreed to in the labor negotiations in this offseason when it came to the stuff between MLB and MLBPA. Have that. And obviously he's putting assets into a soccer team. When he claims he has to when he has to pay bondsmen. But then here's this. Michael Kay said on the show that Hal owns 55% of the team, 45% investors.
I
Funny, we
mean,
never heard of this when George was around at all, or
that's what I
even when
was gonna say. Like, you never heard when George was around about these investors,
I think
and
they're
it's not even the
spinning
point.
this.
It's not even the point. It's like 55%. That's the majority. Like, I'm assuming you'd probably still have to go through these investors, but I'm sure the investors don't give a shit. Like, hey, listen, if it's a popular person or it's person A or it's random guy one, they're probably saying, you know what, if you need to lock up Aaron Judge, here, I invested in this team. I want to be known as a part of this team as an investor. And look, here's the money. If they need it. And I don't think Hal needs it because you're making profits now off fucking AC Milan. Like, I'm not a soccer fan. I know
I
Joe's
hate soccer.
plenty pissed that he didn't go after Juventus. He went after AC Milan. But then again, he probably would have fucked up Juventus.
Yeah, why
So
would you? Yeah, why would you want Hal Steinbrenner owning your team? Honestly, as a soccer team, like an asset like that. But overall, even getting to Brian Cashman, he's such a scumbag too. I mean, I could say
Cash
a
got
lot
Luca.
more. No, because you don't do that to a great like Jeter. Homegrown, drafted here, played here his entire career, Hall of Famer, all the accolades you can name, All Star MVP, World Series MVP. I mean, how much of an arrogant prick could you how much of an arrogant prick could you possibly be to be not showing up for the event? I mean, do you really take this shit personal?
I mean, to be fair, it seems
Fucking
like,
fire his ass already. I'm done.
yeah, I mean, now let me ask you a question.
I'm listening.
Do you actually believe Jeter's going to have a role in the Yankees? I'm not saying GM, but do you think he's going to have a role in the Yankees within the next 2 years?
I think he can. I think there's a good possibility. I know we got all these tweets from people like, "Oh, he'll ruin the Yankees," like Michael Jordan, what did to the Wizards. Michael Jordan did have an ownership. I think it was an ownership stake or a GM stake in the Wizards, and he, made some
Phil
bad trades and
Jackson, the
acquisitions.
Knicks?
Well, that wasn't really like that. That's not like a player becoming an owner.
No, I mean,
Jackson was
I'm
a
just like an
coach.
executive kind of thing.
Right, but I'm saying from a player to a general manager.
Yeah.
It's not no, Jeter was an actual executive when he was with the Marlins. He took part in baseball operations, what people don't understand. He tried to, he saw the flaws in the little foundation they had. That's why he traded off Stan, Ozuna, all those different guys. So he's like, let's start from scratch. Let me get my guys here. He brought executives from the Yankee organization. Kim Ang, who is the current general manager, is from the Yankee organization. And I think they're doing a fine job over there. They just gotta, speed up the process a little bit. But it's not like a Michael Jordan thing where he knows nothing about executives or nothing about executiveship or running the general manager side of things or operations. He's done it before.
Yeah, I mean,
But
if
let me just say this: I don't think Cashman and Jeter will coexist.
no, I don't see that at all. Like, I here's how I think that will happen. To be honest with you, I think Hal at first, if Jeter vies for a job in the front office or Hal offers, he's gonna be like, "Look, I'm asking you to work with Cashman a little bit." He's gonna be like, "No, I don't want to work with Cashman. Don't put me next to him."
Why
So I
would you
think
want to
Hal's
work with
gonna
Cashman when he tried to screw you over? A and
lowball
B,
him
not
basically.
lowball him. A, B, not show up to your little ceremony.
All right,
I
but
mean, the
we're talking
guy,
about Hal
it's the
Steinbrenner here.
no,
We're
no, no.
not talking about someone
I'm talking
successful.
about like Cashman. Like, why would Jeter want to work with Cashman? He has no,
No,
he
no, no. But
shouldn't want to.
I'm just
I know.
orchestrating.
I'm just saying that he has a reason to have beef with Cashman. Cashman lowballed him. He couldn't even put up his personal beef aside to go see Jeter and be grateful, that little bald prick.
No, but what I'm saying is like Hal will try to do that because he loves Cashman, and I
Of
think in the
course,
end,
he's like family. We all know this.
if that ever gets to an impasse kind of thing or an ultimatum, he'll be like, you know what, Derek Jeter as a GM or as an operator for the Yankees, that's going to bring more butts in the seats. So I'm going to hire Jeter and fire Cashman. Or he maybe might keep Cashman on the side as some sort of an advisor. I don't fucking know. Hal Steinbrenner is Hal Steinbrenner. Um,
I think realistically, Cashman will be some advisor. Jeter will be like general manager, baseball operations, or president of baseball operations, and then he'll hire his own GM. I think that's like a decent role for him.
yeah, I don't see that being bad at all. And, I don't like calling people out. Well, I kind of do. Okay. I'm not really scared of it anymore because I'm like, you know what? Okay, whatever. But some fucking idiot, I could say a lot more, but I won't. Will Chiarucci or whatever the hell his name is fucking shameful to be Italian. Me and Christian were going at him on Twitter on Friday, and I was at the stadium because he's like, "Well, the Yankee fans are blinded. Jeter's not going to be a good GM for the Yankees." I'm like, "Dude, you are the same person that homered for Aaron Hicks," and then we were having this discussion
I
as it was at the
saw.
stadium, and then moments after his two horrible plays, I'm like, Aaron Hicks, he's going to be, a hell of a changer in the postseason. He goes, you never know. I'm like, yeah, you never know. Jeter might be a good GM for the Yankees. So it's just funny how people actually pick their narratives.
I think he said he claims to be a Yankee fan, but he went
Claims.
to, but he put when he went to a Met game. I think it was Monday night with hashtag Let's Go Mets.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even do that. Like, I wouldn't even do that. Like, no.
He's a weird person.
Yeah, he's a fucking lunatic. That's what he is. He's a scumbag. Um, but overall, man, you know what? Let's get into Aaron Hicks. I know that it's a dead kind of moot point at this age, but we haven't really talked about it too much, even going back to Boys in the Big Apple. Spray your thoughts.
Should never, even though he did tonight, should never play another inning, another at bat. Another, yeah, he should never play another at bat or inning for the Yankees. Obviously, that will never happen because it's all about investments. And what Brian Cashman invested in a player. So that again, no, will never happen. But I hope it's the end of the road for Aaron Hicks, especially when Bader comes back and he
Oh,
had a
fucking better
rehab
be.
assignment.
I mean, the first play, that was awful. I mean, he is lucky to an extent that we were not in the seats for that one because me,
Of
Joe, and
course,
Luca we're moving around. We were initially in line, then Luca was getting nachos and all this stuff, and we look at the TV, we see what happens. We're like, pick up the ball, you fucking asshole. So then we go to the seats. Literally like a minute and a half later, ball to the wall, Hicks, and then everybody fucking starts booing and all this shit. We start cursing at
I
Aaron
gotta love
Hicks.
the. I'm sorry, I gotta intersect here. I gotta love the Yankee fans who love the revisionist history and chanting Joey Gallo. Gotta
But
love
this,
revisionist
he
history.
sucked as a Yankee. Get over it. Okay. You want to chant a Yankee name? Chant Benintendi. Yeah, he's still on the team. Technically, he's on the IL, still on the team. Chant Florial. Chant somebody else's name. That just shows like this fan base literally has no knowledge sometimes. They could be so stupid and so naive. And that goes to sometimes when it comes to supporting the Yankees on certain things or the whole cash god movement. Remember? You know that video, that viral video. I don't remember what it's from. Maybe this is my lack of pop culture knowledge, but where that guy's going, watch this. And then somebody
Oh yeah,
took
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
and said, "Oh, well, look, this is going to be Brian Cashman at the trade deadline." Yeah, you know what? How's that worked right now? We're probably still under 500 from the no hitter day, which, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised. But overall,
Can I,
and you know what? Here's the thing. I
before
know
we get, go ahead.
with the thing, people are like saying Montas and some stuff, whatever. Honestly, I know that Hicks was an asshole in left field. He takes his shit on the field for $10 million. I don't think Montas had his stuff.
I don't think he looked that great. He looked like one of those. He's like a game man. Like the way he pitched was like a game manager in football. It's like he almost did enough to win, or at least try to put his team in a better position to succeed.
Yeah, no, all great points there. All great points. But
Even with the Aaron Hicks screw up in left field, I think the next batter hit that ball to Hicks in left field that he just
he just took
flopped
a bad
for.
route.
Took a bad route in left
It's
field.
fucking
You
stupid.
still shouldn't be throwing it over the fucking plate, like right down the cock. I'm not.
Right.
If
And
we're listen, if this podcast, we're not going to be making excuses for Gerrit Cole. Let's not make excuses for Frankie Montas. He's been bad as a Yankee.
good. No, there's absolutely no flat line to it. Like, you cannot excuse Frankie Montas. Oh, well, Hicks made an error. Well, you're kind of justifying the people, in my personal opinion. Maybe other people feel differently, but you're kind of justifying all the people who say, well, Gerrit Cole with the IKF errors and this, that, and the other thing. Like, let's not go there. Frankie Montas does really not have a foundation to walk on with the Yankees because, let's be honest, he hasn't been good. But the thing with Hicks, everybody was saying, well, because he was embarrassed on Jeter night, that was going to be in the lineup for him. Bullshit. Bullshit. The Yankees were not going to sit him. They were going to sit him for the rest of the series. The fact that he came in, hey, okay, I'll give him his flowers. He walked. Okay? He walked. But in a real situation, what I want to see is when Bader comes back, if they send down Florial, you know it's not the end for Aaron Hicks. And it won't be the end for Aaron Hicks. To be honest with you, I have to see it to believe it. And we do the podcast with Donald Stewart, Boys in the Big Apple. What did he say that Aaron Boone didn't do when it came to Aaron Hicks?
He did not have the strength in his convictions. A translation, he did not have the balls to take him out. I mean, he did eventually, but he did not. Where he was wrong is he did not have the strength in his convictions or the balls to say, I took him out for performance reasons. What did he say?
He's a passive aggressive little fucker. He goes, "Oh, I think I needed to get him out of there at that point." Why? He said it wasn't performance based either. He's a
That's the
passive
problem.
aggressive little fucking teenager. Because,
Aaron Hicks thought it was performance based.
yeah, and he's damn right, fucking bullshit. But why I say Aaron Boone in that case is a passive aggressive fucking teenager
He's
is
soft.
because regularly he is soft. But like for instance, we could take this into a teenager's perspective. You may not like something that somebody says, or maybe someone violated, like not physically, but like
Burned,
socially
roasted.
violated or roasted somebody that's your friend, and you unadd them, and then you ask, why'd you unadd me? And then you could say, oh, my phone was being stupid. No, you idiot.
Or you tweet
unadded them.
Or you get into an argument with somebody, or somebody says something to you, and then you say something passive aggressive, and you put words that would hint that you're offended, and then you put a laughing emoji.
That's basically what Aaron Boone did. And yes, we'll give him credit. The Yankees won the next two games. Donaldson was on fire a little bit. We'll talk about Peraza because I know a lot of people are pissed that he hasn't played. We'll talk about it in a further advancement of a discussion. But
as well,
it's
the
not the end
Cabrera
with
his
it.
first home run.
Yep, Cabrera hit his first home run. That one I kind of missed. What was that, on Sunday?
Yeah, I think so.
I was watching the Giants' first half. It wasn't pretty. Or it was the second half. I think the game started at like 3 because it was raining and shit. But yeah, that was pretty much the Jeter day for us. Luca, if you want to take us a little bit into the Rays versus Yankees series, at least the next two games, some of the takeaways.
So we'll start. I'm going to start on Saturday. Let me just pull the box score. The Yankees won 10-3. Jameson Taillon pitched very well, striking out 8 hitters over 7 1/3 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, and a walk. Very stout start against Corey Kluber. Kluber, 6 runs, 2/3 of an inning, and 8 hits.
Yeah, he got beaten the shit
I
out.
got to be honest with you. You're telling me Frankie Montas couldn't do the same what Tyone did, and I'm very low on Tyone.
I am too. I mean, how many runs did he give up again?
Tyone technically gave up 3 runs, 1 in the third, 2 in the 8th. The game was over by the time he gave up those runs, so
I'm surprised
he
he
had
went
the
into the
support.
eighth.
Yeah, Tyone threw about, let's see here. He threw 99 pitches in 8 innings, near 8 innings. So that's
Okay,
not
so
terrible.
I mean, you had to rest your bullpen to some extent, but I'll give Tyon credit. Okay, once again, like Luca is,
He
I'm not
did
very
more
high
than
on Tyon,
enough.
but he did enough. Like within the first few innings, that's the shit Montas should be doing. Once
Right.
again, Montas really doesn't have a foundation to stand on when it comes to all of the built-in excuses and whether he's played well or not. He hasn't pitched well.
It's like,
So
listen, records can sometimes matter for a pitcher. Sometimes it doesn't. But when what is he, 5-11, 5-12, something like that? That kind of maybe
yeah,
that.
let me look up his stuff in a Yankee uniform. I could do that real quickly as we go along. His stuff in a Yankee uniform. He is currently 1-3 with a 5.94 ERA and 7 starts. That's not worthy of excuses for right now.
I'll be honest, it's not even worthy of what you gave up.
No, it's not. I mean, that's
Waldichuk is going to be
number
is
2
called.
starter.
Waldichuk got called up. JP Sears
A
is
lot
doing
of
his thing.
players on this roster, and I know we're supposed to be positive to run a 3-game winning streak, but a lot of the players on this roster are not worth what
Of
their value
course,
is.
of course. But we can brag about payroll, right? So Donaldson had a big day. He had a home run off Charguaz, and Stan had a home run off Bentoncourt, which was obviously off the position player. Not much going for the Rays. Judge was leading off 3 for 4, which got his average to 307. Obviously mentioned Stanton,
They got taken out.
Oswaldo Cabrera with a 2-run base hit. He had 2 RBIs on the day, and Duhar with an RBI. They also got decent production from the middle to the bottom of the order, which was not terrible. That's what the Yankees need right now.
No, I mean that's exactly. And didn't Higgy hit a home run? Maybe that was going back a few months. I feel like he hit a few shots in this series. I know he
Higgy
did
didn't
when we
home.
were there.
Higgy did not. He obviously Higgy hit a home run when we were there. Obviously, it was the home run in the ninth. Did not hit a run the next day. With Stan and Donaldson solely.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully Donaldson keeps it consistent. Tonight, Donaldson was 0 for 4. So we're gonna be back to fucking square one again. Which pains me a little bit. And listen, we scored 7 runs, 4 of them without extra innings, which we'll get to. But Isaiah kind of fell off of, yeah, he's been turning it on lately. But when Donaldson's not, we'll talk about that shortstop position a little bit more. And I know a lot of people were like, well, why are you complaining? This lineup has produced. And I know you could obviously switch your narrative a little bit. You could switch it around. But this is the Red Sox. They're a little bit more of an offensive team than the Rays. You could attack them a little bit more. But, I mean, let's get into it. Why not? Let's get into it. Peraza hasn't been in the lineup for, 3 days now? Is that correct? 3 games.
So I'll double check the lineups.
Yeah.
So he wasn't in September 10th, 11th, and we'll find out here September 13th.
No.
Against the Red Sox. I don't think he
wasn't
was.
even an option off the bench.
I don't know why, though.
You used Hicks. And Peraza was, let's see.
Their standards are weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a weird double standard. He was turning it on a little bit, Peraza. He had that game against Minnesota where he was like 3 for 4. Let's see what his stats are. 238. You could bump that up, right? Pitching against the Red Sox, I mean, they have like one of the worst bullpens in baseball. And once again, Hicks, give him the flowers, he walked. But we're not just talking about the results, we're also talking about merit. And Hicks should never have been fucking in this game, to be fair. And Florial, He's doing his thing. Obviously, he ain't doing very well at that. But Peraza does deserve more playing time over Aaron Hicks and Josh Donaldson. Now, are you, and I know your answer to this, are you a little weirded out that, well, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, after all those Gold Glove performances at third that we've had the last few days, he's back at shortstop and Peraza has no place?
Well, of course, it's typical Yankees. Once they see something that works, they fix it and do the wrong thing. They do it a lot. Obviously, you mentioned Gold Glove at third base. Playing well at third base no matter what. I mean, I think he had like an error on Friday night, and I think that's why they might have ended his third base run, but I don't know, man. It's
Doesn't
just
add up
weird.
to the errors at shortstop he's had all
No,
season.
IKF is a
So,
traditional third baseman. The Yankees are just not putting him there.
I mean, it's the second year in a row
It's
they're
the
kind
ass
of doing this.
backwards.
Yeah, it's kind of like the second year in a row, if you think about it, that they're experimenting with shit late in the season. Because like they started
Gleyber
last
Torres,
year. Yeah. I mean, Gleyber Torres the prior 2 years. Then they put Gleyber at second last part of last year.
Gio at short.
Gio at short, which actually was a little bit productive. And then now this year, they experimented with IKF at shortstop. Boone, and we had the whole conversation and a whole rant and stuff like that with, IKF being patted down by Boone, basically giving a pat on the back for 13 errors at shortstop this season. And then the Peraza thing and all that other stuff. And then they go to him at third and then Peraza at short with Donaldson on the paternity leave. And now we're back to square one again. So I feel like, we are facing a good pitching team later in the week, not necessarily a good hitting team, at least to my knowledge, because when we saw them face the Mets in, what was it, June, July, somewhere in that span, the Brewers weren't necessarily good hitting, but they
No,
were good with pitching. Corbin Burns, all these other guys,
Brandon Woodruff.
Woodruff, they still got that pitcher Davies, if I'm correct, right?
Zach Davies, I don't think he's on the team.
Okay, so maybe a couple other guys that I'm not even listing, but that's going to be Friday. That's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
Taylor Rogers.
put your best guys in the lineup. Put your best guys in the lineup, and especially on defense. But with the Yankees, man, it's a tricky situation. It really is. In terms of that, it's tough. Any final thoughts on that shortstop, third base subject?
I pretty much went over already. I think it's just unorthodox, but this is the Yankees we're talking about.
All right, so for the final set of topics, we're going to talk about this Red Sox game. A lot of different stuff. Gerrit Cole. He didn't lose us the game. We didn't win the game because of him.
He didn't certainly he left us out to dry.
Yes, he left us out to dry. Not an
Was
ace.
he oh my god horrible? No. But let's go through the sequence. He gives up a 2-run home run in the first inning. No, was it the
Tristan
second
Casas.
inning to Casas? What's his name? Tristan Casas?
Tristan Casas.
So you have that. Go to the third inning. Yankees score 2 from a Marwin Gonzalez home run and an unlikeliest of heroes. He gives the run back in the third inning with a Reese McGuire shot. By the way, let me just say,
jerks off in his car.
Casas was hitting 095 prior to hitting that home run. And McGuire, okay, he's hitting 269 right now. So then you go to the top of the sixth. The Yankees, Aaron Judge saves the team again in typical Aaron Judge fashion, because where would this team be with Aaron Judge? Bottom of the sixth, Cole gives up another home run, this time to Xander Bogaerts. Yankees don't score a run till the eighth. They obviously win in 10 innings. So it's a weird. Everybody says, "Oh, it's a weird performance." Not ace-like. 10 strikeouts, 4 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 home runs, 2 solo jacks, 2 solo jacks, 1 2-run bomb.
I can see a lot of ways people would spin the narrative if it was a different situation.
They'll find a way to spin it, because Gerrit Cole, again, as I said, he left the Yankees out to dry tonight. That's not an ace. And it's not an ace when you go in the dugout and you start freaking out on your pitching coach like a complete soft bitch you are. He just doesn't have a tough mindset. He's mentally soft. That's what I don't like about him. I'm like, It's not like, oh, I hate him, I hate him. All these different things. He's not mentally tough. He can't overcome adversity. He makes if he makes a mistake, he's gonna fuck up and make that mistake again. It's predictable.
One thing goes wrong, the next thing goes wrong in Gerrit Cole's mind. It's like fucking dominoes. Literally is. Screaming at the pitching coach. And listen, we could fault the Yankees because it seems that with pitchers, they don't let them work off their fastball, which is really,
Yeah, Jordan
really weird.
Montgomery called out the Yankees for that in his recent interview. He said they said his fastball was not too good.
I mean, you know what? You know what bothers me about that a little bit? And it's not Montgomery calling out the Yankees. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Montgomery wasn't necessarily good in the Yankees uniform. We could all explore that trade again. We could go over the topic. We're not going to because I've pretty much dismissed it. Look, Montgomery's, he's not a net negative. He's not a net positive, if anything. Herman's pitched well recently since he was given the bump up. But it is something worth to look into about these pitchers not being able to use their fastball and then work off of it. Because in that scenario with Jordan Montgomery, and they said, oh, well, his fastball isn't good. You can't work off of that stuff. At least let us see. If at least if we see, we could be like, okay, well,
Remember,
his fastball is dry.
the thing is, our argument for why Montgomery wasn't good, he never had a plus pitch. He never had a strikeout pitch. What if that fastball was that strikeout pitch?
And if it wasn't that strikeout, if the strikeout pitch wasn't his fastball, then we would know. Okay, his fastball's not good enough. His other stuff's not good enough. It's not a plus positive. It's not a negative. Whatever. Okay, deal him. Get somebody. Somebody in a walking boot. Unfortunately, right now. Hopefully, he's on his way back up. And then now we're getting these. Getting. I really don't want Castro back. I really don't want Chapman back. I really don't want Britton back because we'll get to it.
I studied the little box score from Sunday. Chapman struck out 3 and walked 1. Britton struck out 2. Castro, I think, didn't really put any special numbers, and Bader was 1 for 3.
Okay. Like the only guy I'm really excited for, and I can't say excited because Aaron Hicks is still going to play guys, is Harrison Bader.
Harrison Bader.
I want to see what he does in center field. And this is going to be the move. I'm going to put $200 on it. Not real life $200, but I'm just going to say it for saying it. And then we'll go back to Cole. When Bader comes back, they're sending him down Florial.
Oh, 100%.
It's not going to be Hicks, everybody. It's not going to be Hicks.
Didn't they bring up Tim LeCastro?
Yeah, they did. They ain't sending him down. They love him for some reason. When they steal with him about 2%
the pinch runner. He is literally the pinch runner.
He literally is that. I mean, it's irritating. But back to the Gerrit Cole stuff.
Funny enough, as we mentioned, pinch runner, Florial was a pinch runner tonight for Giancarlo Stanton.
Wow. So I don't know. And then people are gonna be like, well, he's hitting 097, this stuff. I mean, the Yankees have fucking ruined him. It's pretty much a moot point and a dead horse at this point. Back to the Gerrit Cole stuff. I mean, we obviously talked about the stuff with the fastball. That's the Yankees and their franchise being fucked up as it is. But Gerrit Cole is just not right. I'm not saying there's something mentally wrong with him, but he's not mentally tough. And that's what New York sports teams really grasp. That's what they really require, especially the top teams like the Giants, the Rangers, the Knicks, the Yankees. Those 4 teams really require a tough mindset. Gerrit Cole's not that guy. His best season, to be fair, was a number 2 behind Justin Verlander. If Justin Verlander came to the Bronx, he would have that tough mindset. He will be a prick. I don't like Justin Verlander, but I've had second thoughts and revisionist history about not signing him $25 million a year because Justin Verlander has been better than Gerrit Cole this season. While we have Gerrit Cole as our 1 and a bunch of pitchers, it's just like a running back by committee in football. You don't know what is what. And then with Montas underwhelming and Tynes up and down and Herman's doing his thing, I mean, it's going to be weird for the playoff rotation, but to flatline it, I know a lot of people say, well, this, and this. CeCe was never like this. And I don't like CeCe right now because he picked Ohtani over his former teammate just to go with the bandwagons. Like, I don't know what the fuck his problem is, what he's
Ben Verlander.
Ben Verlander, you're a fucking idiot, okay? Nobody would know who he is if he wasn't Verlander. But anyway, CeCe was tough. Some of the other aces we've had, tough. Bet you Ron Guidry was tough a long time ago.
Clemens.
Roger Clemens, he
I
was tough in
mean,
his day.
it's funny because I was watching a urinating tree video. He's funny, obviously funny as hell. He does satire. He even talked about like he was ranting on the Pirates, and he talked about how Gerrit Cole would have these blowups in Pittsburgh.
That's something
He
worth
couldn't.
looking into.
It's like he couldn't even survive in the smaller market when they're complete shit.
And here's the thing I will say. We're not going to come out here and say, well, the New York Yankees should have never signed Gerrit Cole. No, they should have because he was that piece away. And he wasn't the reason they failed in 2020. Management, Labor Torres, all this other nonsense is why they failed in 2020. 2021, not necessarily why they failed either, but also it wasn't under as big of a microscope because they got
Correct.
fans later in the season, to a bigger percentage, whatever. From the jump, this year, especially since we've been a part of this team, it's been under a microscope whether Gerrit Cole has been an ace or not. And I'm going to be honest, aside from Twitter folks, the few that there are that agree with us, NYY News TV has been pressuring the whole narrative of Gerrit Cole as an ace. And he's not an ace. Let's be honest. He's not tough to be an ace. I mean, you could talk about, okay, maybe he gives up 1 or 2 runs in a start. Like, he did well in his Minnesota start. But when he goes to Boston, he's a completely different person. And then
Right.
Michael Kay was trying to, make excuses for justify losing in terms of the pesky pole and other shit. Like, dude, just stop, okay?
That happens for everybody.
That happens. And then people will come out and say, oh, well, people don't talk about the Fenway Park is a home run park, but they always bully Yankee Stadium. Like, okay, that's a good point, but nobody cares right now. Like, realistically, nobody cares. We're talking about Gerrit Cole. Yeah. So, any final thoughts on the Cole subject?
Again, we've been going over this many times how soft he is. I think he's. I really hope somebody shoves a boot up his ass so he can get ready for the playoffs. This if he ever does this shit in the playoffs, where even if he doesn't pitch well and he wigs on his coaches or has some burst, he's not mentally tough. I want him to prove me badly wrong in the playoffs.
Yeah. And don't come out here, people, with this, oh, well, he has haters and all that stuff. No, it's not going to be like that because people do that with some players. People just hate some players for some reason with narratives. No. If it ever comes to be that he proves us wrong in the playoffs, we were right to question him in the first place. Don't make it seem like we hate him. We were right to question him in the first place. But you want to go over some stuff regarding the game, and then we'll talk about the whole Clay Holmes closer position and stuff like that because that's worrying me a little bit.
As I said, Clay Holmes with the win. Jeurys Familia was actually DFA'd after he lost the game tonight. Wandy Peralta with the save comes in as the hero. Aaron Judge, 2 home runs tonight. Marvin Gonzalez with also a 2-run home run in the third. Gleyber Torres, again, the hero. Obviously, for the Yankees in the top of the 10th. He's very clutch. Obviously, you question a lot of things about him, especially baseball IQ and whether he's a head case or not, but he is clutch. Comes in with the 3-run double, bases clearing. 7-4. You get to the bottom of the 10th. Clay Holmes gives up a single to Alex Verdugo. They take him out, and they put in Peralta. Peralta throws a wild pitch. Connor Wong scores. Runner at second. Peralta locks down Rafael Devers to close the game.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this whole closing thing? Because I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago about whether the Yankees should actually have a closer or is it going to be a rotation based on who's hot and who's not. What are your thoughts on Clay Holmes? I know you have stats from the last few games that he's pitched in, the last 7 of the last 15. Obviously tonight was in, people come out and say, oh, well, the runner at second role. No. But he hasn't been the same pitcher.
He's pitched in that role so many times, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're correct. He hasn't been the same pitcher in the second half. It's obvious.
No way.
This is a little worrying knowing that people were expecting a different Holmes after the injury. And then we get this. Like, what if it wasn't 7-4? And what if he was put in a situation? Because I believe they were warming him up even before they scored. So let's just say they don't score, right? And they put him in the situation. He blows that game. He
Of
blows that
course.
game. So is Holmes your closer? Is he not your closer? Do you ride or die with him? Do you put Peralta in? What are your thoughts on this?
The Yankees tried putting him out there. Luckily, they took him out at the right time and Peralta locked it down. I mean, as you said, Holmes has been worrying. Last 15 games, he's 2-2 with the 5.06 ERA. 15 games, obviously, as I said, 3 saves, 16 strikeouts in 16 innings, 9 runs, 12 hits with 8
What about last
walks.
7?
1-0 with a 2.16 ERA, 7 games, 2 saves, 9 strikeouts, 5 hits, 2 runs, 8 and 3rds innings. So it's a little bit better, but you obviously want it over a bigger span, bigger sample
Bigger
size.
sample. But with that being said, yeah, in terms of the home subject, just needs to be more consistent. Just needs to be more consistent.
Especially when it comes to playoff time. You don't know what Chapman's going to
Yeah,
be.
don't. Chapman's still eligible because he's on the 40, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so
I mean,
Zach
Joel
Britton
Sherman was
can't be eligible.
Joel Sherman was saying something that Chapman might not even make the 40-man for the
I'll
playoff
believe it when I
roster.
see it. I'll believe it when I see about the 40 in the playoff roster and all this stuff. But hopefully Clay Holmes gets it together. I don't want to be this whole Tampa Bay Rays shit of, basically closer by committee. But if you have to do it because Clay Holmes is being trash in some, scenarios, you might have to. And you don't want to blow games like that because a lot of times hitting and bullpen coincide. And with a rotation like this, where Cole is not 100% of the time himself, and you got Montas, who's not necessarily doing the job, and then Ty and all these different guys, it's a shaky situation to be in. So hopefully the Yankees get it right in terms of that. Luca, final thoughts.
Appreciate coming on here again. Another episode of the Twinbill podcast. Hopefully, Yankees keep on winning, keep my spirits up in the sports world. Because I know that this little green fucking team ain't doing shit for me, and the Irish ain't gonna do anything for me. So hopefully the Yankees keep my spirits alive, keep proving me wrong. Obviously, a big series against the Brewers this weekend. They got to finish strong against the Red Sox. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm right about that. And my question is, why the fuck are you wearing that?
It's my pajamas.
You can still switch out of it.
I know I can.
You just won't. Anyway, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those post notifications so you know when the live stream pops or video drops. As I say on my channel, also go subscribe to Big Lou in the Bronx. But in terms of this channel, live chats, game seasons, live podcasts, live rants, all that stuff available on here. Videos too that aren't necessarily, not live, but the premiering and all that sort of stuff. Turn on the notification bell. No one is better in the business than NYY News TV in terms of telling you the truth. 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. That should be uploaded probably after this premiere. And also, with that being said, buy your fucking tickets for NYY News TV Day the sequel. It's expensive as fuck to get into the stadium. And listen, we tell the truth. You might and I don't want to sound like Hal Steinbrenner when I say this, but you rather give money to us when we're benefiting you guys rather than the Yankees to some extent. We're not charging you $1,000 here, okay? Food, beverages, alcohol, live playoff watch party, music. What gets better than that? What Yankee content creator group is doing that? Nobody. The best they'll give you, and I said this before, the best they'll give you is a stupid fucking discount code. We got discount codes, raffles, giveaways, all that shit. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool. Let's go, Yankees. See ya.
Have a good night.
Before it hits the front